So we have studied about hemolytic anemias and hemoglobinopathies. Now we are going to see anemias because of decreased RBC production, right? So because of decreased RBC production, first we will discuss about nutritional anemias. So in this number 1, we are going to discuss about iron deficiency anemia. So number 1 nutritional anemia is iron deficiency anemia, right? So iron deficiency anemia is the most common nutritional anemia in India as well as world, right? So this is the most common nutritional deficiency anemia, most common nutritional deficiency anemia in both world and India. So at both world and Indian level, iron deficiency anemia is the most common nutritional deficiency anemia, right? In iron deficiency anemia, there is another important thing which we need to understand. What is the most common presentation, right? So when you will see their clinical feature, what will be the most common presentation in iron deficiency anemia, right? So that was the question in AIIMS 2014. Most common presentation of iron deficiency anemia is fatigability and irritability, right? So fatigue and irritability. So patient will be complaining with excessive fatigueness and irritability, right? So he will be not responding to well, or he will be very short tempered. So because of this iron deficiency anemia, right? So fatigability and irritability is the most common presentation of iron deficiency anemia. Here examiner had asked a very beautiful question in AIIMS exam 2014. Question was like this, कि there was a statement कि latent iron deficiency anemia is there was one statement, this one, कि most common presentation of iron deficiency anemia in India is fatigability and irritability, and there was second option given in exam was कि latent iron deficiency anemia is the most common iron deficiency anemia presentation. Latent iron deficiency anemia, right? Latent iron deficiency anemia is most common presentation of anemia, iron deficiency anemia in India. So is it a true statement? So this is a conceptual point. So we have to understand what is the meaning of latent iron deficiency anemia. First, we should know that it is not the clinical definition, it is the lab definition. Remember, latent iron deficiency anemia is a lab definition, which means iron deficiency without anemia. Iron deficiency without anemia, right? So that is the meaning of. So remember, latent iron deficiency anemia meaning is iron deficiency without anemia. So what is the meaning of this word, iron deficiency without anemia, right? So it means patient is having decreased iron stores, right? So iron stores are decreased, right? So iron stores are decreased, like ferric form of iron will be decreased, right? So iron stores are decreased without anemia. So when you say it is anemia, anemia is defined when we see decrease in hemoglobin. So decrease iron stores, but still normal hemoglobin level. Normal hemoglobin level, or hemoglobin level is within normal limit. So that is the meaning of latent iron deficiency anemia. That is why I said latent iron deficiency anemia is not like latent HIV or latent hepatitis virus infection. It is a lab finding, which means iron deficiency without anemia, which means iron stores are decreased and still hemoglobin is at normal level, and that is the most common presentation in India also and in world also. So latent iron deficiency anemia, that statement was also true, right? So this is very important to understand. Latent iron deficiency anemia is most common presentation. This is the most common presentation in India as well as world. So that was the question in AIIMS exam, right? So this point we have to keep in mind. Latent iron deficiency anemia is most common presentation in India as well as world. And remember, this patient most common presentation is also fatigability and irritability, right? So that is what I wanted to conclude here. Okay, latent iron deficiency anemia is the earlier phase of the development of iron deficiency anemia where stores are decreased but hemoglobin is within normal limit, right? And this patient where iron stores have been decreased but hemoglobin is within normal limit, what will be the most common presentation? Most common presentation will be fatigability and irritability. So this point we have to keep in mind for iron deficiency anemia presentation. So these are the some of the good, or you can say conceptual point. Apart from this iron deficiency anemia, when you will see the pediatric age group, iron is required for the brain development up to the age of 4 years, right? So that is why when iron level will be low in a pediatric patient, so they will be having a typical presentation of pica. So they will be having history of pica. So pediatric patient, you will see pica. What is pica? Right? So pica is, it's a kind of food habit where a person will eat non-food stuffs, right? So this person will be having increased tendency to eat non-food stuffs. So non-food stuffs will be taken up by these individual, and that is called as pica. So you will see small kids, they are eating all these ground material, pebbles or some non-edible materials which we don't eat often, right? So like somebody will be eating wax or somebody will be eating the soil material. So these are non-edible things, right? So that person will be keep on taking those things. He will be having more affinity for those things, and this habit is called as pica. So pica is suggestive of iron deficiency anemia when a person is eating some non-food stuffs, right? Now coming to the another important point, iron deficiency anemia is also associated with one syndrome that is called as Plummer-Vinson syndrome. Plummer-Vinson syndrome, right? So examiner asked this question, what is the Plummer-Vinson syndrome? Plummer-Vinson syndrome is associated with microcytic hypochromic anemia, right, which is iron deficiency anemia here, right? So it is iron deficiency anemia, microcytic hypochromic anemia. So they are having triad of three things: microcytic hypochromic anemia, atrophic glossitis plus esophageal web, right? Esophageal web, right? So this is important. Plummer-Vinson syndrome is associated with iron deficiency anemia, right? So this point also we have to keep in mind. Plummer-Vinson syndrome is triad of three things: microcytic hypochromic anemia, atrophic glossitis and esophageal web. So these are the important points about clinical presentation in iron deficiency anemia, right? So always remember, fatigability, irritability is the most common presentation, and in these patients what you will observe, latent iron deficiency anemia is most common presentation in world also, in India also. Right, now we are going to see iron metabolism. Now we are going to talk about iron metabolism. In iron metabolism, what we need to remember, which form of iron is absorbed. So first we should know that which form of iron is absorbed. So which form of iron will be having absorption? So absorption form of iron is ferrous form, right? So ferrous form of iron is absorbed, right? So ferrous form of iron is absorbed. And what is the most common site for absorption? So most common site for absorption is small intestine, right? So in exam they ask this question. Iron is absorbed most commonly in ferrous form, and most common site for absorption is small intestine. And in small intestine also, what is the most common site? In small intestine, most common site will be proximal duodenum, right? So it is proximal duodenum. So proximal duodenum is the most common site for iron absorption. So most common site for iron absorption is proximal duodenum, right? Which form of iron is getting absorbed? So that is the ferrous form of iron is absorbed, and most common site is the proximal duodenum. So these are the some of the important MCQs which examiner had asked earlier in exam, right? Now we will see who will promote iron absorption and which factor will decrease iron absorption. So these two things are very important, and this was the question in May AIIMS 2018, right? What are the factors increase iron absorption? So factors increasing iron absorption and factors decreasing iron absorptions, right? So what are the factors which will increase iron absorption and what are the factors which will decrease iron absorption? So these two were important MCQ in All India in AIMS exam previous year, right? So these were the questions in previous year AIMS exam. Iron absorption is increased. Iron absorption is increased whenever there is a acidic pH. So that is very important to understand. Whenever you find acidic pH, they will promote iron absorption, right? For example, citric acid, right? So for example, citric acid, which will, so acidic pH, so acidic pH will promote iron absorption. For example, another acid is ascorbic acid. Another example is ascorbic acid. What is ascorbic acid? What is ascorbic acid? Ascorbic acid is nothing but it is a vitamin C, right? So that was the question in previous year AIMS exam, right? The iron absorption will be increased by vitamin C. That was the answer. Vitamin C, which is ascorbic acid, right? So that is why we should know all these things. Ki acidic pH, citric acid, ascorbic acid, they will enhance the iron absorption. Why we should know this point? Why we should know this point? See, HCl is hydrochloric acid released by stomach, right? So as a surgeon, when you are going to go for gastrectomy, so HCl source will be removed, right? So HCl source is removed means acidic pH has been decreased. So if acidic pH has been gone down, so iron absorption will be decreased. So that is how you have to anticipate. In this gastrectomy patient, HCl will be decreased, so iron absorption will be decreased. So future of this patient is iron deficiency anemia. So we have to take care of iron supplements, right? So that is how we can correlate all these things to the clinical scenarios, right? So whenever there is a acidic pH, it will increase the iron absorption. During gastrectomy, you are removing the source of acidic pH, so iron absorption will be decreased. That is why we have to understand whenever you are performing gastrectomy, you think about iron deficiency anemia for that particular patient, right? What are the factors who will decrease iron absorption? So it is alkaline pH which will decrease iron absorption. So whenever we are seeing alkaline pH, they will decrease iron absorption. And apart from this, phytate, phosphate, right? In tea, there are tannate, right? So phytate, phosphate, tannate, they will decrease iron absorption. Apart from this, milk is also milk, EDTA, right? Calcium, all these will decrease iron absorption. So milk, EDTA, calcium, all these will decrease iron absorption, right? So that is also one important thing we have to remember. Examiner asked that milk, EDTA, right? Apart from this, one more drug which we need to remember, tetracycline. Tetracycline, this is the another important MCQ which examiner ask in exam, right? So tetracycline is also decreases iron absorption. So phytate, phosphate, tannate, all these will create more alkaline pH and this will reduce iron absorption. So iron absorption, most common site, proximal duodenum of the small intestine. Which form of iron? Ferrous, Fe2+, right? So which form of iron will be stored? Now the question is, which form of iron is stored? Storage form. A storage form of iron is Fe3+, right? So Fe3+ is the storage form of iron which will be stored in reticuloendothelial system. Reticuloendothelial system or reticuloendothelial organs. So what are the reticuloendothelial organs? These are the liver, spleen, bone marrow, right? So these are the reticuloendothelial organs where iron will be stored in ferric form, right? So where iron will be stored in ferric form. So this is the second important point about metabolism. Iron, we have seen absorption, we have seen storage, and now we are going to see another important phrase for iron absorption. Who is the master regulator of iron absorption? Master regulator of iron absorption. right? So this phrase is used for which of the following enzymes synthesized by liver, right? So this enzyme is hepcidin, right? So hepcidin is the master regulator of iron absorption. Hepcidin is the master regulator of iron absorption. Hepcidin is synthesized by liver, as you can see the name itself is telling, right? Hepcidin. So they are synthesized by liver. This was the previous year DNB question, right? So this point we have to remember. Hepcidin is synthesized by liver. And what is the function of hepcidin? Right? So what is the function of hepcidin? Hepcidin has two important functions, right? And both are decreasing function. Number one is decreases iron absorption from the epithelial cell. Decreases iron absorption, right? And second, it decreases iron mobilization. Decreases iron mobilization from the storage site. Mobilization from storage site. So decrease iron absorption and decrease iron mobilization from the storage site. So both are decreasing function, right? So these both are decreasing function, decreasing iron absorption and decreasing iron mobilization from the storage site. And in the storage site, what is the storage site? Bone marrow or liver. So in bone marrow, they will suppress the macrophage, right? So macrophage. So this point we have to keep in mind. In bone marrow, there are erythroid cells. Erythroid cells will be having iron supply from the macrophage. So macrophage, they will get the iron, but they will not supply this to the development of erythroid precursor cells if there is a increase in hepcidin. So remember this point, what I am talking about. If hepcidin is increased, there will be decrease in iron absorption, there will be decrease in iron mobilization from the storage site. Decrease in iron mobilization from the storage site is the most important mechanism for development of anemia of chronic disease also. So that is also an important point we have to keep in mind, which was the All India question. Decrease in iron mobilization from the storage site. This is the most common mechanism for anemia of chronic disease development, right? So this is the most common mechanism for anemia of chronic disease development, right? So that is the important thing we have to keep in mind for the hepcidin, right? Now I will tell you how this iron is regulated by hepcidin, and this is absorbed by enterocytes or duodenal epithelial cells, right? So now I am going to tell about that thing. Suppose I am showing you these are the duodenal epithelial cell, right? So this is the duodenal epithelial cell, right? So this diagram is about duodenal epithelial cell. Duodenal epithelial cell, iron is absorbed in two form. Remember this point also. Iron is absorbed in two form, heme form and non-heme form. Heme form is more commonly absorbed for the iron. So heme and non-heme form, right? So these are the two forms of the iron, right? Non-heme form will be usually present in ferric form, right? So non-heme iron is present in ferric form. So iron is absorbed majority in heme form. Non-heme form is less common, and non-heme form exists in Fe3 plus ferric form. So this Fe3 plus will be converted into ferrous form with the help of one enzyme which is called as cytochrome B. So this cytochrome B will convert non-heme ferric form into ferrous form, and now this ferrous form will be taken up by the duodenal epithelial cell. So what I am showing you, it is a duodenal epithelial cell, and this is the apical part, apex, right? So this is the apex, right? And this is the lower part which is called a basolateral part, right? So basal part or basolateral part I am showing you downward, right? So when iron has been taken in the ferrous form, this will be taken up by one special type of protein that is called as DMT1, divalent metal transporter, which stands for divalent metal transporter type 1, right? So divalent transporter type 1, right? As you can see, the name itself is telling they will help in transport of metal ion which are divalent, right? So this will be transportation, this will be suitable for transportation of Fe2 plus, Cu2 plus, lead 2 plus, right, cadmium 2 plus. So any of them can be transferred or transported by DMT1, which is present at the apex of the duodenal epithelial cell. So duodenal epithelial cells apex is having DMT1, which will transport any of the iron or any of the divalent metal ion. So that is why this DMT1 is a non-specific, and that was the question in AIMS 2016, non-specific protein involved in iron absorption, right? So non-specific protein are involved in iron absorption is the divalent metal ion. So that was the question in AIMS exam, right? So this was the question in AIMS exam, which is the divalent metal ion involved in iron absorption. So divalent metal transporter 1, DMT1, is the non-specific. Why non-specific? Any of the divalent it can take, not only Fe2 plus, it can take cadmium 2 plus, it can take copper 2 plus, it can take lead 2 plus. So any of them can be taken up inside the duodenal epithelial cells with the help of DMT1, right? And after that it will be converted into mucosal ferritin, right? So it will be converted into mucosal ferritin. This mucosal ferritin, they are having two fate. One, they can be shed down through the mucosal shedding, or it can be transported to the basolateral part. So now you are seeing basolateral part. See, basolateral part of the duodenal epithelial cell. Basolateral part of the duodenal epithelial cell, there is an enzyme which is called as ferroportin. This is another important enzyme, ferroportin. So what is the function of ferroportin? Ferroportin will transfer ferrous. See, it will transfer ferrous, right? So name itself is like, ferroportin, transport the ferrous to the another protein present at the basolateral part of the duodenal epithelial cell. So what is this basolateral part protein? See, this what I wanted to say or understand you, कि ferrous form is, it's converted, this ferric is converted into ferrous form, and see, this ferric is converted into ferrous form here, and now that ferrous form will be coming to the basolateral part, and now it is converted into, now it has been transported. So what is the use of ferroportin? To transport ferrous from the inside to the another basolateral protein which is called hephaestin. Remember, this is the hephaestin or ceruloplasmin. So this point we have to keep in mind, if this protein at the basolateral site can be anything. It can be hephaestin, right? It can be hephaestin, or it can be ceruloplasmin. So ceruloplasmin, see, this was the question in AIMS exam, November AIMS 2017. There was a question, which of the following is not involved in iron absorption? There was a question, which of the following is not involved in iron absorption? Transferrin, ceruloplasmin, transthyretin, right? So these were the options, right? And fourth was hepcidin. So when examiner asks you this question, so remember, this ceruloplasmin is the carrier protein for copper, but remember, they are also called as iron oxidases. Remember, they are also called as iron oxidases. Hephaestin and ceruloplasmin, they are both called as iron oxidases, and their basic purpose is to convert ferrous, which has arrived from here, to ferric form. So ferrous to ferric conversion is done by hephaestin and ceruloplasmin, and remember, both are collectively called as iron oxidases, which will oxidize iron to the ferrous to ferric form. So hephaestin and ceruloplasmin was the right answer. So ceruloplasmin is also, so many of the students could not strike it, because ceruloplasmin we all know only for the copper, we don't remember about this one. So remember this point, hephaestin or ceruloplasmin are collectively called as iron oxidases, which will oxidize ferrous to the ferric ion at the basolateral part of the epithelial cell. Now question is, who is inhibited by hepcidin out of these three, right? So here we need to understand hepcidin is the antagonist of ferroportin, right? So that is another important point which examiner can ask in our future exam. Hepcidin is a ferroportin antagonist, means they will inhibit ferroportin. So hepcidin will always inhibit ferroportin, which is at the base, and that is how they will stop the absorption of the iron at the basolateral part of the duodenal epithelial cell, right? So that is the important thing. So we have to understand hepcidin will act by inhibiting ferroportin, and already we have learned that they will inhibit movement of the iron, stored iron, from the macrophage to the outside, right? So that is the important thing we have to keep in mind for the future exam. So now you can see, if I show you this diagram, this is very helpful and very schematic diagram, right? Where we are noticing that how iron is absorbed by DMT1, right? So this protein is again an important question which examiner had asked in All India AIIMS exam. DMT1 will convert ferrous into ferric form. In some of them they will be excreted as the ferric mucosal ferritin. Some of them will be converted into ferrous form. Ferrous will be going to the base, and base ferroportin will be converting them into ferrous, right? So ferroportin will be transporting them to the hephaestin or ceruloplasmin, which are iron oxidases, convert ferrous into ferric form, right? So this is iron absorption metabolism which we are seeing here. Now this ferric form of the iron, will be transported to the bone marrow with the help of a carrier protein. And who is that carrier protein? Transferrin. So there is a carrier protein called as transferrin. So who is transferrin? It's a carrier protein. So transferrin is a carrier protein which will combine with ferric ion. They will take them to the bone marrow. So now they will be coming to the bone marrow. What happens in bone marrow? There are erythroid precursor cells, right? So these are erythroid precursor cells. Erythroid precursor cells, on their surface there are transferrin receptors. And these transferrin receptor, they will take up the iron in ferric form from the transferrin. So this will be taken up by the receptor. They will be taken up inside by endocytosis. They will be stored inside monocyte or macrophage system in the bone marrow, right? So in bone marrow they are stored inside monocyte macrophage system, right? So here we need to understand this monocyte macrophage iron will be then given to the erythroid precursor development to form mature RBC, right? So now we have got the information that transferrin will carry this ferric ion, and this will be given to the transferrin receptors. Transferrin receptor will endocytose all these iron, and they will be sending some of the iron into the monocyte macrophage system, which is the storage form of the iron, right? And now this storage form of iron will be in the form of ferritin, right? So ferritin is a storage form of iron. So ferritin, some amount will be going back into the serum, and that is why serum ferritin is considered as marker of storage iron. So it is a marker of storage iron, right? So that is important concept which examiner had asked in All India and AIIMS exam in older time, right? Serum ferritin is a marker of storage iron. So whatever serum ferritin we are seeing here, it is proportionate to the serum ferritin present in the bone marrow. If there is more ferritin, it will be more serum ferritin, right? And that is why it is called as marker of storage iron. Now we will see what is the lab finding in iron deficiency anemia. So we understood the mechanism, right? So now we understood the mechanism of iron deficiency anemia, or mechanism of the metabolism, right? Now we are going to see what will be the lab finding. So this line should be cut down, right? So what I am saying, iron deficiency anemia, we have seen metabolism and how this metabolism help in storage iron formation within the erythroid, right? Now we will see the lab finding. What is the earliest lab finding in iron deficiency anemia? What is the earliest lab finding in iron deficiency anemia? So earliest finding in iron deficiency anemia is decreased ferritin. Decreased ferritin is the earliest as well as most sensitive. So earliest and most sensitive test in iron deficiency anemia, earliest and most sensitive test in iron deficiency anemia is decreased ferritin, right? So there will be, first finding will be ferritin will be decreased, which we will see in the serum, right? Again, I would like to show you this with the schematic diagram so that we can understand more clearly. Suppose I am making this one, a part of duodenum, C part of the duodenum, where the iron absorption is here in ferrous form, right? After that, they will be given it to ferric form. This ferric form, right? This ferric form will combine with transferrin, which is a Y-shaped protein. Now this transferrin will be bringing them to the bone marrow. In bone marrow, there is a erythroid cell where their transferrin will be giving them to the transferrin receptor, and this is how ferric ion will be taken inside for the maturation of the RBC, right? So what has happened in iron deficiency anemia? There is a decrease in ferritin, right? So what I mean to say that storage iron has been decreased. What I am showing you here is there is a decrease storage iron, ferritin has been decreased. So if ferritin has been decreased, so now it's very obvious bone marrow is requiring more iron. For more iron, who will bring the more iron? A carrier protein. And who is carrier protein? Transferrin. So whenever there is a decrease in ferritin, carrier protein will be always increased. So remember this point also. When we are seeing that there is a decrease in ferritin, this will cause increase in transferrin level, because it is transferrin who is capable of bringing iron to the bone marrow, right? So from the plasma to the bone marrow, it will be taken by transferrin. So whenever bone marrow ferritin is decreased, transferrin will be increased so that they can take more iron from the blood to the bone marrow. Whenever transferrin is increased, that is another important point. Whenever transferrin is increased, there will be increase in total iron binding capacity. So total iron binding capacity is also increased. What is total iron binding capacity? Total iron binding capacity is total amount of transferrin which can combine with total quantity of ferric ion, right? So total transferrin, see what I am saying, total amount of transferrin which can combine with total amount of ferric ion, that is called as, this quantitative analysis is called as binding capacity of the transferrin. See, the name itself is telling total iron binding capacity, means capacity to bind iron. Whose capacity to bind iron? Transferrin's capacity, transferrin capacity to bind iron. So if transferrin is increased, TIBC will be also increased, right? So that is why TIBC will be increased in case of iron deficiency anemia. Normally TIBC, this was the question in one of the older state exam, normally TIBC will be in the range of 300 to 400, right? So normally it is 300 to 400 microgram per deciliter, right? But in iron deficiency anemia, it will be more than 400. In anemia of chronic disease, it will be less than 300, right? So this is how examiner will ask you question in your exam. For example, this was the question in a rheumatoid arthritis patient, TIBC is 250 microgram per deciliter. This was the AIIMS question in 2011, right? So this was the AIIMS question in 2011. A rheumatoid arthritis with TIBC of 250 microgram per deciliter, right? So what is your diagnosis? So, and diagnosis is anemia of chronic disease. So this point should be very clear. More than 400, it will be in favor of iron deficiency anemia. Less than 300, it will favor anemia of chronic disease, right? So that was the question in AIIMS exam, a very simple question. So whenever transferrin will increase, TIBC will increase, right? So we have found three things. Now look at the another finding. Look at the another finding. If there is a more transferrin, right, but ferric is decreased because iron absorption is decreased, so there is a decrease in ferric ion, right? So more transferrin, decrease ferric ion, right? Decrease ferric ion. So transferrin is more, but ferric is less. So what is the percentage saturation of this transferrin? Tell me, what is the percentage saturation of this transferrin? Increase or decrease? Decrease, right? So always remember there will be decrease in percentage saturation of transferrin. So decrease in percentage saturation of transferrin will be seen in iron deficiency anemia, right? So decrease in percentage saturation of transferrin will be seen in, right? So because what I have shown you here, because of the increase in transferrin and decrease in ferric ion, right? So ferric is less, transferrin is more, so saturation of transferrin will be decreased, and that is why I have written saturation of transferrin will be decreased, and that was the question in all India exam. So usually saturation rise between 22 to 55 degrees Celsius, but in iron deficiency anemia, it may decrease to less than 15%. Right, so that is another important point we need to remember. Iron deficiency anemia, this will be decreased more than 15%. Right, so now we can see fourth finding. Fifth finding in iron deficiency anemia, what will happen to the serum iron? Right, so serum iron, as we all know, that it will be decreased. And what will happen to the hepcidin? See, what is the physiological response? What is our physiological response? Physiological response is to enhance the iron absorption, because iron deficiency is going on, and to enhance the iron absorption, what should be the hepcidin level? More iron is required, so hepcidin will be degraded or downgraded, so hepcidin will be decreased. So these are the important findings which examiner had asked in previous year AIIMS, PGI and All India exam, right? So these are the lab finding in any iron deficiency anemia. Ferritin will be decreased first, and that is why it is called as earliest or most sensitive test for iron deficiency anemia diagnosis, right? So after ferritin decreases, what we will see? Transferrin will be increased, because transferrin is increasing, so total iron binding capacity is also increased. But in the end, what we are seeing, transferrin has been increased, but ferric ion is less, so percentage saturation of transferrin is decreased. Percentage saturation is decreased, serum iron is decreased, and hepcidin is decreased for more iron absorption, right? So these are the ideal condition for iron deficiency anemia. But what you will see in iron deficiency anemia with the chronic inflammation. So that is another interesting point where examiner punched his question. If there is a iron deficiency anemia with chronic inflammation, which investigation will be most sensitive? Iron deficiency anemia with chronic inflammation. Iron deficiency anemia with chronic inflammation. What happens in iron deficiency anemia and chronic inflammation? Because of the chronic inflammation, this term is very important. Chronic inflammation can be caused by some infection like TB, or it can be because of the cancer, right? So these are the things which are responsible for the chronic inflammation. So whenever we are seeing any chronic inflammation along with the diabetes, along with the iron deficiency anemia, there will be increased serum ferritin. There will be increased serum ferritin. Why increased serum ferritin? Because as we have already read in chapter 2, serum ferritin is acute phase response protein. Acute phase response protein, and these acute phase response proteins are positive type of acute phase response protein, if you remember, right? Positive and negative, two types of acute phase response protein I have described, and now I am telling this is the positive type of acute phase response protein, because serum ferritin is getting increased in inflammation. So because of increase in serum ferritin, so can you diagnose iron deficiency anemia by seeing the serum ferritin in cases of iron deficiency anemia with inflammation? No. So chronic or iron deficiency with inflammation, iron deficiency anemia with inflammation, serum ferritin is of no use. Serum ferritin is of no use. So what should we use for iron deficiency with inflammation? So whenever examiner says iron deficiency with inflammation, so always remember, iron deficiency with inflammation, best investigation will be bone marrow biopsy with Pearl's Prussian blue stain. Pearl's Prussian blue stain, right? So iron deficiency anemia with inflammation, bone marrow biopsy with pulse Prussian blue stain will be best investigation, or you can say this is the gold standard investigation, right? So gold standard investigation for the iron deficiency anemia is the bone marrow biopsy with pulse Prussian blue special stain, right, for the iron. But when examiner has not mentioned this, as was the case in All India exam 2014, so what will be the next best investigation? Next best investigation will be serum transferrin receptors, which will be increased. So serum transferrin receptor will be increased in case of iron deficiency anemia. So this is the another best investigation for detecting iron deficiency anemia with inflammation. Why it happens so? Now look at this iron deficiency anemia, and these are the erythroblast. During iron deficiency anemia, erythroblast will anticipate more transferrin, and more transferrin will bring more iron. That is the anticipation of this erythroblast. But what is actually happening in iron deficiency anemia? Transferrin is coming, but there is no ferric ion. Transferrin is coming, but there is no ferric ion on the transferrin molecule or carrier protein. So as a result, whatever excess transferrin receptor has been formed, they will shed down into the blood circulation. So they will shed down into the bone marrow through the sinusoidal capillaries. They will reach into the peripheral blood, and there you will find serum transferrin receptor is increased. So this will be the best marker after the bone marrow biopsy with pulse Prussian blue staining, right? So serum transferrin receptor should be the ideal whenever we are coming across with iron deficiency anemia with some of the clinical findings, like, right? So iron deficiency anemia with some of the clinical findings suggestive of chronic inflammation. So whenever iron deficiency anemia is present along with chronic inflammation, serum transferrin receptor should be used. There was a question in one state exam: what will be investigation of choice to discriminate iron deficiency anemia versus anemia of chronic disease, right? So now we can see that serum ferritin is not reliable, right? Serum ferritin is not reliable because it can be increased, right? Because what I am showing you, it can be increased in case of anemia of chronic disease also, and it can be increased in case of iron deficiency anemia with inflammation, right? So what will be the best investigation? Best investigation will be serum transferrin receptors. Serum transferrin receptors will be increased, will be normal, or decreased. So that was the question. So ferritin is not at all reliable. It is serum transferrin receptor which will be reliable to discriminate iron deficiency anemia from the anemia of chronic disease, right? Anemia in iron deficiency anemia, what will be the finding on peripheral smear? Peripheral smear of iron deficiency anemia. Whenever you will see peripheral smear of iron deficiency anemia, you will notice microcytosis, small RBCs, and you will see normal size RBC, and there is a severe hypochromasia, right? So what I am showing you here, they will be microcytic, then hypochromic anemia. So microcytic and hypochromic anemia, this is the number one finding which we will notice in any iron deficiency anemia. Apart from this, you may notice that in iron deficiency anemia, they may have a target cell also, right? So this is the second important thing, they will be having target cells, right? So examiner will be asking you, this is microcytic hypochromic anemia, and target cells will be present in peripheral smear, right? So these are the important points about the iron deficiency anemia and peripheral smear. There will be nothing called conclusive for the diagnosis. For diagnosis confirmation, we have to go for the gold standard bone marrow biopsy with pulse Prussian blue stain or serum transferrin receptor, which is non-invasive or minimally invasive procedure, right? In iron deficiency anemia we have read, right? So here I would like